right, guys, welcome back to another episode of True Thoughts. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of True Thoughts Podcast. Welcome back, another week, another episode, another opportunity to share love and peace, another opportunity to be great, another opportunity to show up for ourselves. So I just want to say thank y'all so much for the love and support and tuning in to another episode of True Thoughts Podcast. Before we go,
Okay, this is a very sensitive and emotional episode. Please refrain from using or leaving any negative comments or negative energy. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of True Thoughts Podcast. Peace. Positive energy always corrects error.
before we go any further, I want to give thanks, all the thanks to the Most High for giving me an opportunity to be where I'm at today, at this very divine moment. I just want to say thank you so much to God for allowing me to be uh, the woman that I stand up and the woman that I stand to be and stand up and be righteous every day. So I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much uh, for the opportunity, God. You know what I mean? Without God, none of this will be possible. So we just got to make sure that we always giving our thanks and praises to the Most High. Today's episode is going to be very emotional for me, and I want to be able to embrace my emotions, but also share these emotions because we all endure some type of trauma in our life. We've endured it, and we're still enduring it as we speak. And today's episode is called Facing Childhood Traumas. And it's a lot of childhood traumas that I want to discuss and talk about. Uh, with y'all or open up to the world and share it to you guys because it beat me down for so long. It beat me down for a long time. It beat me down mentally. It beat me down physically. It beat me down spiritually. It beat me down emotionally. So to be able to come on a platform where I feel safe, I feel protected, I feel that I can be vulnerable and open up and talk about these things, it's an amazing opportunity, and I'm just gracious. I'm gracious to be here. I'm gracious to be able to have an opportunity to be here. I'm gracious for life. I'm gracious for uh, the shirt that I have on. I'm gracious for the shoes that I have on. I'm grateful for, just the environment. This environment that we're in is so vintage and it's so beautiful and it's so like just culture. It's culture around here. And what I usually do, I'm gonna share my experience here with y'all and be able to give y'all the views that I have. So I'll make sure I put that in here for y'all to be able to vibe with. But I do want to talk about traumatic experiences that I encountered growing up, uh, and even as an adult that I encountered. Uh, it was rough. It was rough, and uh, just being able to open up to myself. You know what I'm saying? Open up to myself and be able to also open up to you guys about this is it's brave. It's award winning. It really is, and I'm excited to be able to get things off my chest because it's allowing me to become more free. It's allowing me to become more open. It's allowing me to become more authentic to myself, and uh, it's just a happier life to live. It's more healthier. Uh, we don't talk about traumatic experiences enough. For one, as a people, but also as my people, we don't talk about it enough. I experienced a lot. I experienced uh, a lot. I did, and I'm not the only one that goes through things and have went through things and is going through things. Uh, but I'll be the one to talk about it. I'll be the one to share it. I'll be one. I'll be the, if you're struggling with it, let me be your voice. Let me be open enough to tell you. We can do it. We can talk about it together. We can be open and honest about it together because it's the only way for us to be able to live our best and free lives. Uh, You know, growing up without my real dad in my life was it was a struggle. It was, and it was more of a struggle for me mentally because I always feel like I had that mentality that every child should be able to grow up with both parents. Every child should be able to be involved with both parents. And not having my real dad around affected me because for one, I asked myself, you know, I felt like it was me for a while. Like, what did I do? Why don't you want to be around me? Why don't you want to see my growth and maturity? Why don't you uh, want to see how I've evolved and I am evolving in life? Why don't you want to be a part of that? Why don't you want to be able to be a part and share that and embrace that side with me? And it hurt. It hurt for a long time. And, you know, yeah, my dad was incarcerated when I was younger, but I also feel, when you got out and you got the opportunity to be a free man again, I feel like that should have been the opportunity for you to build a relationship with me. And the fact that I didn't have a relationship with my real dad, like I said once before, it was a struggle. It was a struggle because I feel like every child needs love from both parents, mother and father. Because a mother can't do things that or give that a father can, and a father can give and do things that a mother can. So not being able to have that identity, that man in my life that I needed, I accepted certain things in life that I shouldn't have accepted if I had a role model to look up to. And, you know, once, like I said, everybody is young, everybody is growing, everybody is evolving. And I understand that at one point in time, my parents were young too, and they were learning. But once you evolve and you get greater and you become a better person, then you would think that things have changed, but because they didn't. I'm not mad. I don't harbor any resentment. It hurts. It was hurt. It was very hurtful. And to, you know, any, I would say this, any man or woman, if God gives you an opportunity to put a seed in this world, be there for them. Be there for them. Don't help get them here and not be a part of their life because it affects them in ways that you will probably never know. So, like I said to any parent, when God gives you the opportunity to put a seed in this world, be there for them. Love them. Be there every step of the way, no matter what the circumstances are. Be there for them. Be there for them. Um, when when I think about my childhood trauma, sometimes it's sick. It is. You know, sometimes it hurts. Sometimes I just sit back and I just think, like, wow, the things that I went through, you know. And one of the biggest things that I went through, and I held on for it for a long time. I held on to it for a long time because, you know, I didn't want to be judged. I didn't want to not be believed, but when I came out to my mom about being molested, you know, it was probably the most relieving thing that I ever was able to do. You know, walking around with that, you know, resentment in my body, walking around with that pain, walking around with, you know, just the hurt. It hurt. Thank you guys. Just it hurt. And to be able to open up to my mom and to tell her, and she asked me, why didn't you tell me? And because I had a fear of being judged and not believed. being molested changed my life. It did. It changed my life in ways that I never thought it would. You know, it made me look at certain situations in life different. It made me look at certain people in my life different, and to know that, you can look at a person in their eyes or still want to have some type of contact with a person after you took something from them that 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 you would that they would never get back, you know. And I feel like when a person is being gets molested, it's not so much of the virginity you take from, it's the identity you take from that person. And you know, I'm gonna say this to anybody that's out there that has been molested or being molested, speak up about it, be brave, be tough, because that pain, holding on to that pain, it's not fun. It's hurtful. You, it'll strip your life away from it. Talk about it. It's okay. Talk about it. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I was able to tell my mom the truth and tell her the pain that I've been holding on for a long time. But I was finally able to let go. And knowing I went through that, I want to let the world know. Yes, I went through it. Am I ashamed? No. Am I angry? No. Am I sad? No. Because I had to let it go. I held on that pain for so long, for so many years, I had to let it go. You know, I'm gonna tell you this. Being open and free is probably the best feeling in the world. To let, you know, things that break you down and, take you away from the true world you want to live in. It hurts, man. It hurts. I did say that this was going to be an emotional episode. It really is. And, you know, I feel myself holding back at this moment as we're rolling, as we're recording this episode. I feel myself holding back because I'm afraid of being judged. I'm afraid of what 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 someone might say. But I can't do that. I can't, you know. A lot of relationships, a lot of family members, and growing up being the black sheep of the family, from because you don't do the things that your family wants you to do, you don't dress the way that your family wants you to dress, you don't talk, walk, you don't, conduct yourself the way that, your family, wants you to be. And I want to tell who's ever watching this episode today, open up, open up and I'm sorry, y'all. You know, I knew that this day would come. It needed to come. It had to come. It needed to be talked about. But we're not gonna make this show a sad show. We're not gonna be unhappy this whole show. But being able to talk about these things and being able to be free and uh, tell it to the world. because I know somebody out there is going through. Listen, I can walk past 100 people right now. Right now, I can walk past 100 people right now, and I guarantee every person that I have walked past is dealing with something, they're struggling with something, they're hurting from something. Everybody's hurt, everybody's sick, but we don't want to confess it. We don't want to address it. We don't want to admit it because we're afraid of being judged. But we can't worry about what the world might say about our truth. We can't worry about what a person might say about us being as free as we want to be. We can't worry about those things. We can't, you know, not having the the amount of it, integrity, not having the amount of love, not having the amount of trust can break a person down, especially a child. Parents, love your children, love on them, embrace them, regardless of their sexuality, regardless of, you know, what they choose to be or do in this life. Love them, be there for them. From a youngin to an old head, be there for your child. And I look back at my young self and I see that young lady sitting in her room crying, trying to figure out why me? Why me? And as I get older, I realize I'm glad it was me. I'm glad I went through that. I'm glad I saw that. I'm glad I I I endured that. I'm glad because for one, it gives me something to speak out about today, to stand tall about, to be able to address. But for two, it made me a strong woman that knows that she can be the best that she can be. It made me believe in myself in ways that I never believed in myself. It allowed me to stand up and look in the mirror and face my truths head on, face my trauma head on. Parents, be there for your kids, man. Y'all just don't understand that y'all are the biggest like part of a child's life. Be there for your kids, man. Be there for your kids. So, got some more merch on. True Thoughts merch. It's a beautiful color. That blue and that orange sits so pretty on my little yellow skin. But no, another vintage. We're in a vintage shop with some vintage drip on. But yeah, that's a vintage right there. You know, shout out to True Thoughts. I'm loving what I do. I'm loving who I'm becoming. I'm loving the ride and the journey that God has me on. And to be here today, to be able just to open up about my younger, facing my young trauma. Because if you don't face the trauma, you know, we got trauma built on top of trauma, built on top of trauma, built on top of trauma. Get that shovel and get the digging and face them head on, because the more and more we bury it, the more and more life is breaking us down. We're not being happy. We're not being true. We're not being, who God brought us to be. So get a shovel and start digging. Dig through those traumatic, experiences in life. Look at them at a different perspective now. When I look at my situations that I went through when I was younger, you know, and especially about me being molested, I don't look at it as at a bad perspective anymore. I look at it at a different perspective. Nothing like that is never fun. Nothing like that is never easy to deal with. And nothing like that is okay to have it to experience. But everything you experience in life is for a reason. And whether it be a good experience or a bad experience, it was for a reason. It was for a reason. And it took me over 15 years to say anything, to be able to find that motive, not even motivation, to find that strength to get up and say, you know what, I'm gonna say something. It's time to say something. And you know what's crazy? Because me saying something allowed me to see that I wasn't the only person that experienced that from that same person. And it's crazy. And I'm here. I'll speak for us. I'll stand tall for us. I understand what you went through. I was there. I dealt with it. But I'm going to stand for us today. And I'm going to speak out on it for us today. We okay. Look where we at now. We made it through. Look who we are today. Look at the women we are today. We made it through. We're going to be okay. I got us. I promise you that. I promise you that. You know, I was doing some reading the other day, and a thought popped up in my mind. And I told myself, in order to be mentally free, you have to address every single thing that mentally drains you. You have to. Because if you don't, it's going to continue to weigh you down. It's going to continue to hurt you. It's going to continue to break you apart. You got to. You have to. It's okay. It hurt. And it's not going to be easy. I'm not sitting here on this platform and just trying to make it seem like, oh, it was easy and it was like a breeze and it was like a walk through the park. It was hard. It was hard as hell. But I'm gonna make it easy for you because I swallowed the pill. You know what I mean? I took the hardest step is speaking on it. I feel even more free now and just telling the world about the things that I've been through. I remember me and my brother used to fight all the time, and I mean fight. And I look back at it and like, man, he was only doing what he saw. He was only doing what he was being taught and taught. When somebody teach you, you don't have to literally sit down with a person for a person to teach somebody. You can watch a person and a person can learn. So when you're around your environments, be aware of the environments that you're around. Be aware of the environments that you put people that you love, your children. Be aware of those environments because your children is going to learn, and that's how they're going to conduct themselves. That's the character that they're going to have from the environments that you put them around. When I hear the word trauma, I'm going to be honest. The first thing I think about is like a hospital. A hospital. But when I sit down and that word replays in my mind multiple times, I think about the fight. I think about the rough days. I think about the long nights that I sit up and thought and thought and thought. The days that I walk and pace, walk and pace. I think about not feeling loved. I think about the absence of my father. I think about the harsh words from a mother when you tell her that her daughter is a lesbian. Think about the way your grandmother looks at you because I choose to wear slacks and a bow tie versus a dress and heels. I think about pain. But what I also know is that trauma only lives where you allow it to. It only lives where you allow it to. You can't let it live in your mind or your heart, written free. You can't do that. Let it go. Kick it out. Make it move on out. But I believe that the more we speak up and speak out about trauma, the more we can heal ourselves. And this is the world that we live in. It's already chaotic and hurtful and disgusting. But you have to be free. You have to speak out on traumatic experiences because little, believe it, little or not, you speaking out help somebody else be able to begin their healing stages in life, their healing journey. We all on the healing journey together. And I want to be able to tell myself or look back at these episodes and be proud of what I did and what I chose to say and what I chose to speak out and and see how brave that I was and how mature I didn't God as well. Um, our black people in the black communities, let's come together. You know, let's get away from the view of, if someone come to you about an experience or some traumatic situation that they've been through, we got to get away from not believing because things like that don't happen. In reality, they do. So we have to get away from that, and we have to sit down and listen and be willing to be accepting because 90% of the world is walking around with traumatic experiences that they are dealing with on a daily basis. And that's why we have hurt people. Because hurt people. But we got to stop that. We got to unlearn the behavior that we've learned and relearn new behavior so that we can learn how to be free, learn how to speak out, learn how to speak up, learn how to be brave, learn how to not care about what someone says about your truth. We have to. We have to embrace it. We have to be free. And we also have to know that no matter what, no matter what, living your truth. I I was asked when I was younger, is the reason why I chose to live the lifestyle that I live, is that because of me being molested? And it's not. That has nothing to do with it. I chose the lifestyle that I live because I chose to be happy. I chose to love. I chose to care. And to me, it's not a gender on that. I don't look at gender. I love is love. And if we start looking at it in that way, I promise you, it'll get better. Another thing that I wanted to talk about when it came to um, speaking out on my childhood trauma, you know, We do things because we've experienced things and we went through things. So we take that and we feel like that's the right thing to do. We feel like that's love. We feel like that's happiness. We feel like that's um, the way to go. And really it's not. And I because I was a hurt person, I hurt people. And that caused them to be hurt and become a hurt person and they hurt people. But somewhere down the line, we gotta be willing to say, you know what? I'm gonna be that curse breaker. I'm gonna stop the generational curse. Because trauma is passed down from generation to generation. It's not just certain people get trauma. Certain people go through certain things. No, everybody go through everything. And if you don't be the one to stop that traumatic experiences in your life cycle, and you're gonna pack it. Because Lord willing, give me a child. I want my child to be able to come to me and talk to me about everything. I want to be able to be that parent in my child's life where, if they're going through hurt or they're feeling like that they're not being loved or cared for genuinely, or they feel mistreated or abused, I want my child to be able to talk to me about that. I want my child to be able to open up to me about that. I don't want to have a bridge or a wall to where my child feel like if I were to walk across that bridge, or if I were to climb over this wall to to open up about whatever, what would be the response from it? Would it be a hurtful response, or would it be a loving and embracing response? So, you know, we believe that I'm gonna say we, I'm gonna say I believe that when a person feels unsafe, they retreat. They retreat. And for the longest, I felt unsafe. So I kept retreat, retreat. Until one day I told myself, the only way that you will feel safe is if you release, if you open up, if you be true to who you are. This shirt look good, y'all. Shout out to me. Be true to you. True thoughts. The orange and that blue. It's another vintage one. I remember when I was making these, and I had just started True Thoughts podcast, and I I told myself, like, you have to be you you gotta be you. You gotta be your brand. You gotta promote you. If nobody else promotes you, you gotta promote you. And I was like, man, what can I do? Just to always be true and always show. I went and bought the cricket machine. I and went and bought everything I needed, y'all, and I did it. And these hoodies, those lines of hoodies, I look at them or I wear them. I just embrace it. It makes me so happy, to see that I took the opportunity to get up and start and do it. And you know, 20 years from now, I'll look back at this hoodie because I'm gonna have it 20 years from now. This sweater, this whatever it is, pullover, and I'm gonna still be proud of myself. And yeah, so the rose coffee, wasn't a big fan of it. I still have it. I mean, it was pretty, it was very beautiful, but I'm just not the biggest fan of it. But I'm always down to try new things and get out and be open and experience, new things and see, new environments, and it's beautiful. And I'm telling y'all, the ambiance around here is cracking, cracking. Um, I want to tell the world something. You know, I kind of want to cut this episode a tad short because it really has my mind kind of not all over the place, but I don't want to get too emotional because it took a lot for me just to get here and say something and speak about it, and now that I know that I spoke on it, that shows me how much courage I have, how much bravery that I really have, and that I'm willing to speak more on it. But before we go, I want to tell you this. No matter what life has given you, or no matter what someone has done to you, don't let that take over your life. Don't let that stop you from being the most greatest person that you can be to yourself. And if you or anybody else that are suffering from trauma from when you was a child, trauma from when you was a teenager, trauma from when you was an early adult, trauma from that where you at in your present life, heal from it. Turn around and do the inner work, because every person deserves to be free and happy in this world and not have to suffer from the things that they've endured from people that hurt them, from being hurt by other people. Love you enough to say, I want to let go. Love you enough to say that I want to be free. Love you enough to say that no matter the situation or the circumstances that I went through in life, that I can be brave to stand up and say, hey, I went through this. Hey, let's speak about it. Hey, let's face it. Hey, let's deal with it. Because I promise you aren't the only person that's dealing with the same thing that you're dealing with. I took the step up to speak about it. Now I want you to take the step up and speak about it. I want to thank y'all once again for tuning in to another episode of True Thoughts. We come, we share love, we share peace, and we share positivity. We embrace our sceneries. We embrace the people that surround us. We embrace the opportunities. But most of all, we embrace the life that God has given us every day that we get up and we're able to see another present day. Unwrap it and enjoy that gift that God has given you. I want to thank y'all once again for another beautiful episode of True Thoughts. I hope to see y'all again next week, where we're going to come and discuss more things, more positivity, more love, more fun, more happiness, and even the things that hurt, we're still going to discuss those too. But before we leave, I always got to leave with this: peace. Positive energy always corrects error. Until next time, y'all, be great and be true. I love you.